Yeah.
which you should never forget. Plus,
Where is it?
doubling its heal when you get like its max ability to double cast spells. That applies to everything. You want to use a bard ability, it gets double cast. You want to use just a red mage or arcanist ability, that gets double cast.
What is its 15 ability? Do you know?
Scroll up. It gets access to at level 15. It gets access to HP where you cast spells with your HP instead of MP. You can scroll up. Yeah.
Oh, wow. Okay.
That's 2 slots, so that's costly.
Oh, two
but
slot.
like,
Nah, I don't think there's
but
many.
like it's not the worst. I honestly think it's a pretty solid B tier. Like I used it a lot mid game, and and honestly it's better than Black Mage for bosses if you want to have a magic dealer, purely because you can just dual cast your spells.
I think it's like the most dedicated like mid game job class in the whole game, which is
It's also my favorite magic of the pure magic damage classes. I have problem Black Mage. I'll talk about Black Mage and Arcanist when I get there, but it's my favorite of all those three.
So now we have Hunter.
Hunter is I like Hunter.
Counter savvy.
Counter savvy who dares to win are great abilities, and when you're like at that point in the game, you can still have trouble with random mob enemies. So these Slayer abilities deal really good damage. Plus, for some subquests like the plant subquest, they do a lot of damage.
Bows are probably the best weapon type on their own, also.
Yeah, granted, you do give up the ability to use a shield, and you can't. And it doesn't work with either dual-handed or two-handed, so that does hurt. But by then, you don't care.
Yeah, and it's not like Counter Savvy is like a level 11 skill. It's level 6, so you're gonna be able to get in, get out if you want it.
You want to pull up its level 15 abilities again? Because
I'm gonna put it there for now.
But I think it's definitely a very solid B tier. Plus, as a sub job with Arcanist, its ability to
I don't like that.
Its ability to just kind of paralyze a lot of bosses.
Oh free. Right, yeah. We'll talk about that when we get to Phantom.
With Phantom, its ability to paralyze is actually really, really good and can't be understated.
Okay, on to
Shield Master.
So, we have to talk about it first. I'm gonna put it here for now, but like we can talk about it and I'll move it up. It's definitely not in D tier.
I like Shield Master's Shield Master. I think is terrible for grinding. If you're like just fighting random enemies, Shield Master is probably in D tier. But versus bosses, it's kind of great because you can just kind of run your glass cannons with no downside.
Yeah, it competes heavily with Phalanx later on, but like until Phalanx becomes available, which is like a whole chapter after, it really is your best defensive build.
And like it kind of absorbs excluding AoE abilities, it kind of like can absorb more than Phalanx.
It's just so passive, and I feel like
I personally like to run like my mages with dual shields because I don't care about the attack. And just having enough defense to be able to take literally anything and then res my team is really invaluable. So like I can't really put this. I don't know where to put this.
What I'll say is that it's a class that's in a weird spot because you almost want to go into it just to get its skills, fast hands, and I forget the other one that's useful, but fast hands mainly. Dual shields maybe.
I like
fast hands comes after dual shields, but at the same time, like
it's raw stats itself is something I'm willing to keep.
If you're running it outside of its abilities, like if you're running it sub or main, you kind of need to dedicate like your entire unit to that defensive
if I'm
build.
running sub, I'm running another one of the tank classes,
and it's not healing. Like its restorative power is garbage, so you're already running a healer and then this thing.
I'm only running it sub if I already have a unit I think can wipe the boss and just needs to live to do either like I want to put it. I want to put it in C tier but like I also think
so like if we end up ordering B tier, I think it's here right now and it'll probably be at the bottom.
It's the bottom of B tier, but it's definitely better than a C tier class.
It's such a stuck between two niches because you can't like run this with White Mage. You just won't be healing anything back, and a lot of bosses in this game you need 3 Godspeed
Hey,
strikers for.
speaking of a C tier class, hey, there's
I'm actually gonna argue that I think we're gonna end up making an E tier for a certain job later on. But I'm gonna argue this is I think this is the worst, like one of the worst jobs in the game.
I'm going to argue with you a little bit. I think, first off, I think Pictomancer is cool as fuck. It's passive ability of, if you use it on yourself, you gain extra things to like deal damage. It's cool. I really like it in concept. Its debuffs are really good for some bosses. Some. The main reason I like it is the BP saver, convert MP, and it's your first access to black and to like light and dark damaging abilities. Which by then you are fighting enemies that like are kind of tough with and bosses with dark and light abilities. So just having it there for that stuff is kind of decent.
All that stuff is useful, but in this game, it's always, in my experience, so much better to buff yourself or to maybe like have control. Like for instance, like something like Oracle changing your elemental supposition. It's always better to like have control and be orienting whatever buffs or changes you're making to the system towards yourself and applying them to enemies. Obviously, this isn't a strategy you'd ever use in like grind builds.
It's a terrible grinding.
And then like. What else do you like? Okay, you can debuff a boss, but the debuffs don't last long enough to be meaningful. And like, if you're debuffing a boss, it's a turn you're not Godspeed striking them.
True. I just can't put in D tier because I know what I view as D tier, and it's mainly for its 2 abilities of.
I like the ability one, or
I like BP saver and
yeah.
I like convert MP and Kuro and Skuro as like. They're mid-game abilities that, like, honestly, by then you probably have enough JP orbs to max it out. Or, like, the good abilities to put on your red or your black mage. I think so it's if it goes, very C tier.
If it goes here, do you think it's, like, the bottom of C tier?
I think it's the bottom of C tier, but I can't in good conscience put it as D tier.
Okay.
I want to hear your opinions on Dragoon first.
I love Dragoon. It is, like... it is the most fun non-optimal job in my opinion. It's just wacky. You can jump, you can do all these crazy spear things, you have incredible speed, but unfortunately, like, why, if you're going into Dragoon in the mid game, you gotta ask yourself, like, why? Like, it's a job that is almost not good in late game because it's not like combat in that sense. You're like down to like 3 options.
All of its abilities, most of its abilities almost work better on mages because they want to do like these large AoE attacks, and that's what Dragoon likes. I think it's actually a pretty decent grinding build because its AoE attack does good damage.
Then it's just so fast. Yeah,
it's so fast. I think if we're versus bosses, yeah, it's a little weak, but I do think it's its ability to make everyone jump up, if you actually can memorize, if you know boss patterns or can like predict when they're going to attack, you have enough speed to go before them and just effectively have your entire team deal get 0 damage. Its high speed does work well with the best attack in the game, Godspeed Strike, and I think High Wind's actually really, really good as a secondary ability, but it's just outclassed in everything it wants to do. For high damage, heck, Berserker does more damage. Its abilities, I don't want to use it as a sub job, and late game as a main job. If it was the fastest job in the game, it would be different. But because it's just kind of outclassed, though, it's weird. I'll
say that it doesn't there's no utility here, right?
There is
you are just a combat machine.
You are basically just a combat machine. It's a strong combat class, but by the time you're getting it, you just I think it's by the time you're getting it, might be your second best combat class after Berserker. But you very quickly get a better combat class for both mobbing and dealing damage.
The thing in mid game though is like you actually do you can't like assume that you have every skill. So if you're in mid game, you're in Berserker, you're getting Indiscriminate Rage, you're getting Counter Savvy, you're getting like your good white mage abilities and everybody. You're getting Beastmaster.
Yeah.
So like any job that like you almost have to assume that you're doing it late game, and by that point, like you said, it's completely outclassed.
By the time you get it, I think it's in a good spot to help you, and then it's immediately outclassed by Swordmaster, which we'll talk about later.
Yeah, I think it's here right now, actually. Unfortunately.
I like the job. It's really good for a very small portion of time, and then completely outclassed by everything.
Yeah, if you could like keep it at level 1 and just like allocate your JP to other ability or other job classes while you're in it, that'd be different.
Also,
like,
Highwind is basically a free wield, but for only spears and swords. But the problem is, you want to use dual wield mainly for both accuracy and speed, which kind of gets out at class. Anyway,
so I'm gonna put this one here, and then we can order it later.
I think it's honestly an A tier.
You think it's A?
I think it's an A tier.
Okay. I think it might be like here.
This is I think what the
arguably best healing class in the game, maybe.
I think this has the highest restorative power outside of like Unbounded Beastmaster, Freelancer plus ability. It's one of the best support classes.
Okay, let me talk about why I think it's here first. Yep. Like the bad things about it. Like I said earlier, with the same thing with Dragoon. Like when you're in mid game, it's hard to allocate JP to the jobs you wanted to get it to. Like you're in chapter 3, you're in Rheimdall. Like you're not getting dudes to like level 11. You like don't have the JP up and up slots yet. You kind of just grind along. And if you don't have like level 11 or at least in this class, like preferably mastery, it's not better than white mage. Do we agree on that?
I agree white mage is better.
Until you not better, but like until like your mastery, yeah.
My thing is, as a main job, I think this is better than white mage as a main job.
Because of its special.
It's special. First off, like I'm gonna talk about like what's decent about it. It's just having consistent like HP and MP. It's mainly the MP restoring that is really good about this.
I agree. Yeah, MP restoring.
Yeah, MP restoring is good because in my experience, a lot of like game is just spamming MP heavy abilities. So being able to passively restore it, plus being able to, its special too is what I believe pushes it over the top and lets me use it in the late game of using all your learned spirits just automatically applied when you have one or less JP, which for your healer that's not hard to do. You just either heal every turn, use an item, or heck, it even gets an ability where you spend 1 BP, you give someone MP, which is huge. And I'm not going to talk about level 15 abilities that much, but it's
Bravebringer is like a good ability,
and it also gets a re-raise spirit.
And this is like a late game.
This is something you get mid game that if you kept it into late game, it never switched off.
You get it in mid game, but by the time you're like if we're talking level 15, it's late game obviously, and by the time you're like level 12, it's honestly late game anyway.
Yeah, but like by the time this is a class that you could bring into late game. It's good from when you get it into it's good to whenever you get it into even further beyond. Plus it has pretty decent offensive magic in terms of the holy and everything.
I hate offensive magic on this thing. But
you don't like offensive magic in this game.
I don't like. Well, the light magic is like in a weird spot because like light and dark resistances and absorptions are all over the damn place.
Oh yeah, every boss either resists light or resists dark, but it's weird. But like it does actually get offensive abilities. So even
has stabs too, and there's some pretty good offensive stabs in the game.
And when you're grinding, when you're grinding, it's good to have like if someone has like 2 HP, just a little bit more HP than just attacking will do. The magic is good. I honestly think as a main job into late game, this is my favorite or second favorite support class.
I think it'd be better if it didn't have like this is the best job that still has like ample competition from another job.
Yeah,
this direct ample competition.
I think this is definitely a very good contender for A tier.
I don't. So like
I think it's the best A. I think it's the top of A tier.
Okay, so like let's go through because this is the first job we have like a lot of things to cover. Yeah, so let's go through like this is the best job if you're like. This is the only job in the game you can run at level 1, like as a sub. Yeah. Solid Stance is And that's the thing. All right, one thing at a time. So solid stance is one of the best abilities in the game for grinding, and it's not even bad in boss fights. Doubles your attack, and so basically, like even if you're braving 4 times out the gate, you're getting 6 attacks, and then the whole job is kind of built to compound off of that.
Fluid stance isn't bad for
Fluid stance is good for boss fights,
fluid
and
stance is good for boss fights, especially if you want to do a tanky build. I think this is
as swords.
S swords. Heck, even if you don't go into any stand,
Counter
out with a bang,
out with a
two-handed
bang,
weapon.
Yeah, two-handed weapon. Two-handed is good up until you get dual wield if you want to go that route, and then multitask. So like
Multitask is
it just builds upon itself super well.
It also gets this like an ability. I forget the name, but you can attack 4 times, and then later,
Fourfold strike, yeah.
And then later you can attack even more times with it's. I don't think there's a bad ability in Swordmaster, even if I don't use them all. And I think Swordmaster has utility throughout.
It can do. You can slap it wherever, and it'll pretty much do something.
If someone put this as S tier, I would bat an eye. But I think this is just the highest A tier I can. Is this like the highest of A tier?
I think it might sneak up into S tier at the bottom, and that's really because like it doesn't. Like it specializes in a lot, but it doesn't like have that one like golden nugget.
The only reason I don't put in S tier is there is endgame. There are just better jobs, but in terms of both grinding and up until like end game, it's just good in everything it does.
Mm-hmm.
And I like all its ability.
So Oracle, gonna put it down here because we don't really.
No,
we gotta talk about it first.
You want to start out first? Cause
what's
I don't know where I want to put this yet.
So it's like kind of how it's the Magic Dragoon in my opinion. It's super fun. It's probably a little better than Dragoon because of its utility and just like being a Magic class in general. Haste is still good despite being heavily nerfed in this game, and then elemental changes are really important, especially like in the late game fights. But it just doesn't have like a part of the game where it's really good, and it's like almost like Oracle's what you go to and like you've lost to a boss for the 3rd time and you're just like trying to pull something together, and it's like, okay, well, how can I cheese this? And like it just oozes with utility, but like it doesn't have anything else that it's just like you're never going to this job first. It's always like your 2nd or 3rd resort.
It's triple, like its main damaging ability is so okay, but you can't AoE it.
And so you can't pick which ones you're using too. So oftentimes you'll end up if an enemy has an absorption, it'll like absorb the other one.
Oh yeah, that's a big problem. The thing is, its ability. It's a very, I want to say it's a niche class because like
very good special.
Very good special. Haste. Its special is amazing.
Where is it?
Yeah, here it is. I think haste and elemental, like its ability to give your basic attack. What's going on to its special?
I don't.
The thing is, like, its 2nd special is almost irrelevant because
it's a magic build.
It's magic, so you're just gonna be taking. If you bring it for specific fights where you can cheese, aka like let's say you have a party full of like shields that can absorb. I think it's a very C tier, but more so because it has limited uses rather than it's bad. I think it's C tier. Though I will say it's passive.
The only class that can manipulate resistances.
True, but the thing is that's only relevant in some fights. I will say its ability, Noble Sacrifice, top tier. I love that ability. It lets you run so many glass cannon builds that and let you win fights you just have no reason winning. I just can't justify.
I don't think like
I don't think it's as powerful as any of the other classes we previously put in B tier. It's the definition of a C+ tier.
I think what we should do is this. There's like, well, you can change it back if we don't. Like it.
I want to put if we're making a new C tier, I want to put Dragoon there.
Okay, yeah, I like that much better actually.
Yeah,
I agree 100%.
You want to put that as F tier?
Yeah, because like it does not belong in the same tier as this, but it doesn't.
It doesn't. It is not as powerful as the B tier. Noble Sacrifice though, great support ability. Especially, I like to play with like like 2 tank mages, 2 glass cannons, and so when my tank mages die, the game's pretty smart about how it uses noble sacrifice, so I can't complain about it. It's just really good.
So you're the expert on this one. I'll put
Um,
it here first, and you can move. I suck at disclaimer. I suck at using this class. My lizard brain can't handle it. I just like to be white mage and just Kiraga everything.
Salvemaker is I think one of it's tied with.
So you think it's like here or?
I think I think it can be S tier. I'm also lizard brain to put it in A tier because I think it has the highest ceiling of what it can do as a support class.
Yes, I agree, and it takes a bit to get going because like even if you get this and you grind out to level 12, like you need the late game components to really get it to like break the game open.
True, but like even without components, you just have enough money, elixirs plus widen area.
I'm sorry, not components, advanced compounding.
Yeah, but elixirs plus widen area, which are expensive, yes, but you're late game, so fuck it. You just get like more money, grind for like 10 minutes. That's elixir is a mass full HP and MP heal.
Which means more Godspeed strikes.
Which we'll get into that soon. By soon, I mean second to last.
Second to last.
Tough.
Last but least. Pause. Maybe.
We honestly I'd be willing to talk about it. It using 1 Phoenix down and 1 revival herb, which by end game, if you don't have 999 of the basic healing things, you probably have never used Salvemaker. But if you've used Salvemaker at all, you have a shit ton of the basic MP and HP of restoring items. So it basically gets its own arise for 0 mana, which is important for some of the archway fights or gate fights.
Also the BP tonics, which are big.
BP tonics are great. It doesn't care about your restorative power, so you could put this on
which means it doesn't compete with the other healing builds. So
you can put this on any tank class or any class whatsoever with just compounding. I think this is another one where you need 0 with just compounding alone. You get a full arrays, which is kind of insane. And advanced compounding does a lot. There are probably more things I know.
It's got A axes too. It's like if you just need to like bonk a thing, it's not the worst thing ever.
It gets a charm ability, which with Phantom is really good. It gets so much good. I honestly think this. The more I talk about it, I think this might be S tier. Personally, it's just so good.
The thing is,
they in this game throws so much money at you that it's kind of the cost to using it is so low.
It's almost like S tier if you want it to be S tier. Otherwise, it's like A.
This
like
is
if you put in the time with that Salvemaker.
You don't even. I think especially endgame, this is one of the best.
If this were a drip tier list, though, it'd be like beneath my taskbar.
Oh, it comes out.
So
this
ugly.
Outfit sucks.
It's so ugly. Anyway, speaking of beneath my taskbar.
I can't put an E, but like.
Okay. So like I'll say D for availability's sake, but that's pretty much it.
I want to say C for if you count availability, but like, because it's your first good source of AOE damage. Its second ability sucks. It's just hey, you can't absorb my magic.
You really think it's C?
For ability's sake, because it's your first really good source.
Yeah, and it's like your only way of restoring MP with lunar powered Asterisk attack. Okay, yeah. I get.
Bottom C tier.
Yeah.
You will never use this as a main class past getting Red Mage.
Yeah, honestly, I was about to say like you won't get this, and that's like, that's barely mid game.
Yeah. The second you get Red Mage, this is done being a main class. You don't ignore it.
It's done being like a subclass too.
You would use it as a subclass if you want to bring it out for some boss fights, but purely because it's the second ability you get.
Asterisk attack or
lunar
powered.
Asterisk attack.
They go well in tandem, to be honest.
Lunar powered is good. I just don't use it that much because I don't care enough about the day-night cycle, and I wish this game would tell me in dungeons whether it's night or day.
Yeah, well, like, so in the early game, thing we haven't really talked about is that you don't really have there's no room for ability slots.
Yeah,
like, you can just, you get an ability and you put it on for, until Chapter 3. It's pretty much how it goes.
You also don't get Red Mage until, Chapter 2. So, through Prologue and Chapter 1...
Chapter 3 is Red Mage. Wiswald?
No, but it's prologue. Chapter 1 is Savlon. Chapter 2 is Wiswald.
Oh, is it that way?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So but basically you don't get to Wiswald and Savlon. So like for Savlon, if you need to do AOE or elemental damage, it's your only source. Problem is it just falls off hard. Heck, even if you want to use its abilities, it's better to be a main red mage or arcanist.
Oh, I think its abilities are completely supplanted by arcanist.
Yeah.
Because MP regen is just better.
MP regen. Yeah. I'm talking about. I meant like skills.
Yeah. No, I'm in agreement. I'm just clarifying.
Yeah. I think like if you want to use it, it's at most a sub job you pull out for a specific boss, and at best it's Aspir attack. But yeah.
Fittingly enough, the job that's supposed to supplant it, I think, goes right next to it.
Yep.
This is MP regen the class.
MP regen the class.
I could see this actually because it does have like.
I could see that.
Like MP regen is still like an ability I'm running.
I do know that this class can do insane.
I love it. But you do have to like.
Is it? I think if you put in the work, it could be an A tier class. It's just the work that you required to do that. You could also make.
You could make any classes good. Yeah.
You could make it. It does insane damage. The problem is it reflects back at yourself. So it's not a good grinding class, unless you're like me and just put on the Gaia shield and spam, Quake. MP regen is good. Though for some builds, sometimes transfer NP from Pictomancer is better.
But then you have to level Pictomancer, and like while leveling up Pictomancer is definitely doable. Like this class doesn't make you suffer for leveling it, whereas this one does.
Also, it's one of your best sources of dark damage.
Yeah, it's like one of your only ones if you're not using items, and also the rebound damage can be nullified with resistances too.
Yeah, and I think honestly, I think this is one of the classes where if it was anywhere on the tier list, I could believe it. But I want to put it in C tier because the work required to bring it higher is work that could be put into making already good classes even better.
And the last thing I'll say about it is it's the only like magic based class I find that can actually like go into grinding slots where it does have good enough AoE damage to like take out hordes of enemies.
It's just a good
like
class.
As a like let's say the rest of your sword masters are all like -3 and you've got your healer there and they're arcanist and it's like okay you need like two more solid attacks to take out this horde so you don't get like absolutely washed. You want to rely on dark magic.
It is the best magic dealing class. The problem is I just feel in this game magic dealing is
it's bad.
It's bad. The reason red mage is above it is because its second ability can also apply to other things.
And revenge.
It's just it's a little bit versatile where pure damage wise Arcanist is better. Problem is you can't really use it for grinding because they self damage. And versus bosses, there are so many better strats for bosses.
So this next one's probably the one I've switched the most on.
Yeah, this one I like this class a lot.
See, all right, so there's like two places I could see. I could see it here, but then I'd want to move. I'd want to move this here, or I could see it here.
I can believe it in A.
You think so?
I could see in A. Its ability to negate one physical / magic.
No, indiscriminate rage is so like.
Indiscriminate rage
it's so essential.
Yeah,
it's so essential to this
but
game.
But for grinding and grinding only. But anyway, get into that later.
Yeah.
Its ability to just negate one physical or one magic damage, great. Special, great. Its stats, like just stat wise, it does damage, good damage. Critical flow is really good. Doesn't fit with the class at all. I have no clue why critical flow is in a tank class.
And there's auto guard.
Auto guard, great.
One of the best abilities in the game, in my opinion.
Does this one get BP limit up?
Yes, it's its last one though, and it's not like the BP limit up is weird because it almost accentuates the class itself. Like the only time I use BP limit up is when I'm actually in main Phalanx or main Shield Master because I end up pooling so much BP.
In Phalanx sub Shield Master, BP limit up just lets you do so much. I think this is the best. This is the best. I want to say this is the best tanking class in the game with an asterisk of. Mainly because for pure physical tanking, Shield Master was better, but for both physical and magic tanking,
we're gonna disagree on Vanguard then a lot.
It's better.
So the difference between these classes, this one basically isn't a sponge. Like it can hit.
This one, yeah, where Shieldmaster is a wall that will never fall. Honestly, in this tier list, I think Shieldmaster is better than Ranger.
Yeah.
Yeah. What do you think?
I think Counter Savvy is too valuable.
Yeah, but it's just one ability, and where I think Shieldmaster as a whole is just better than Ranger, especially as main class.
Like with you thinking Defender of the People, and then like fast
and
hands
it also
versus
it's
Counter
raw
Savvy.
defense.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think
The way I see it is like it's Counter Savvy and Paralysis versus fast hands and Defender of the People
and
raw stats.
And raw stats.
Yeah.
The thing is, I like to do something I did to get past the boss I could beat one of the gates was just put one of my healers had 0 levels in Shieldmaster. Put him as Shieldmaster, just gave him a shield, they couldn't die, and then just had them as Southmaster or White Mage, and they just could heal, and it's just good. But
I was looking at like the next few ones, and I'm
but
thinking that we might do this.
no, going back to what we're talking about, Bastion is just a good class. It's just good. It's I think.
Why do I keep calling it failings?
Yeah, because it's best ability.
No, like, it's like the start. It's the number. It's the level 1 ability.
It's a really good balance between being able to actually deal damage and being a great tank. I think belongs in A tier, especially because if you're not trying to do like massive like break the game strat, it's a class that you should just have on when doing anything. Anyway,
I'm really eager to click this and drag it.
Drag it to where you think it belongs.
So this is my favorite class in the game. I am a big proponent of dual wield spam. And then like the mastery skill is probably like actually breaks the game, like not figuratively, like literally will break the game in two. You can just stun lock and there's so much. Let's go like from the beginning, like we did.
It's the fastest class in the game, which is really relevant in this game because not only does that change on how much you can act, you'll get almost like 2.5 actions before your subclass.
So I think the most fitting part about this boss is like this is the boss you get it from is when you learn to Godspeed Strike spam. And it's like yes, yes.
We keep talking about Godspeed Strike spam, but unfortunately this tier list has like Thief last. But Godspeed Strike spam is an amazing way to deal with any fucking boss.
But this so like literally everything is good, right?
Become the Lightning is a great buff because it's HP instead of MP.
It's like other self-buffing classes usually revolve around like that, and it cripples them. And then this one doesn't.
It has a multi-attack.
Yeah.
And by then your crit should be high enough that like you can really
literally all of these.
It has increasing crit by 30%. That's huge. Heck, if
like this is essential to any crit build basically. Like,
it's essential.
It facilitates an entire style of play.
Dual wield is dual wield. It just
I just love it.
Dual wield's great.
It does have accuracy boost, which like
is important.
It's important for a lot of bosses. But like warding results.
You don't even need its like level 15 abilities if you scroll down.
I don't even know what they are.
Yeah, I know it's like
you get this class level 12 and then like you just watch the game crumble.
Yeah, its ability to make salamans always hit. It's extremely
and then gain
fast
another
speed.
Turn, and it's not like you get another BP. It's like no, you act immediately after.
It's almost it's worse to just brave a spam.
There's no point. You just literally just get to act again.
I think you legitimately just once you get this class to level 12, you can.
It's got good dark physical attacks too.
It's I think this class.
And then results guaranteed. Yeah.
The only downside is it has like no HP, but like
its special's kind of mid too.
Its special's mid, but you can get it by pure attacks. You don't even have to use occultism.
Oh, I didn't know that. Yeah, you're right.
And
double S.
You combine this with Ranger, you can paralyze anyone. Combine this with Salvemaster, the game's your bitch.
Literally.
Combine this with Thief, you can deal insane damage.
Yeah.
Actually stupid fucking damage with Godspeed Strike because of how fast it is.
I will say it's not even really a weakness. It's like one thing that doesn't do whatever you want it to. It's not the best sub job.
As a sub job, I think it is not good.
Yeah, like you want this as a main job for the most part.
But as a main job, Also, it looks cool as heck.
Yeah, it's really good. It's really
I
good.
think it looks better on Adele and Gloria than it does look on like Elvis and Seth or whatever you named him. But
like when that's like the main weakness I'm citing is that's a weird sub job. It's like I think it warrants another tier for it.
This is, I think,
because like it doesn't. I don't think it belongs with this.
I think this is the best main job in the game. Like hands.
Yeah,
down.
I could agree. Maybe. We'll get there.
Later.
We'll get there.
Hellblade. Start us off, champ.
Hellblade comes at a strange time where like it offers a lot that would be useful. It's just that like tidbits of it are done better by other classes, and you really need to invest in it to get like anything unique out of it. So like the blade abilities are great because like elemental damage, it takes a little bit of HP, and that its specialty is really like bad if you die. Obviously, it breaks you to -3 BP.
God, it's so good for just restoring MP and HP, and
it just hits hard. It hits really fucking hard.
It's really fucking hard. You have mastery of every element, and they attack, and it's like not only just as a single attack, it's multiple, which actually matters for some bosses that can just heal. Or
swords, it's fairly fast, great attack stat.
It's actually pretty bulky because it keeps healing itself. It gets minus strike, which
I think minus strike isn't really good in this game.
You get with BP -1 off from Pictomancer. Minus strike is a free, extremely high damaging ability.
I would put it here for now. We can talk about that.
I don't want to put it in S.
Actually,
I think it's an A tier class.
I don't see it. Kind of competes with Swordmaster, but at the same time, like
I think it's an A tier class that is.
I honestly could see like here
better than Swordmaster in general, but I almost want to say it's worse by the time you get it.
I'm gonna give the edge to Swordmaster for ability. Actually.
Yeah. But when you get it, it's a great class.
It just takes a lot, like, because you need like. If you're running this at level 1, you're making a mistake because you only have ruby blades, and then
if you're
like, you need the whole repertoire. You need all the elements because like then what are you doing? And you need the level 12 ability that allows you to get more than 9,000. Surpassing blow or whatever.
Surpassing blow is also necessary for endgame like glass cannon builds.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying is like
but honestly, surpassing blow is better than any of these Swordmaster passives.
And by the time you get it, you like it's almost at that time where like you can pick and choose the jobs you want to be mastered anyway.
But like, you will probably already have JP up and up by then, so it shouldn't take you long. You just kind of like.
It is the second to last job though. Also,
it is the second to last job, which is I think the biggest thing holding this back is when you get it. But if you got this mid game, I would put this in S tier. No, I think it's above Freelancer.
You do? Okay.
I think it's above Freelancer. I think this is
I
a
could
great
see it
job.
here, either on, but
like,
here.
I think it's literal. I think it's only held back by its availability, and but like other than that, its passives are great. It's passive 1. I think is probably the best passive 1 of any class. Would you argue?
Is it? What is passive 1?
Yeah, that's the regenning MP and HP.
But at the same time, is that Deal with the Devil?
Yeah. That's
okay.
Devil.
Yeah, Deal with the Devil is super lopsided,
cool
obviously, but like in optimal play, you're assuming you don't die, so it's good.
I think.
Do you want to save this?
I'll save that. Yeah.
Save it.
Heck, we've been talking about it so much. Let's talk about Thief. Let's do Thief.
Want to do Thief right now?
Yeah. Where do you think you want to put it?
So here's
the Thief paradox.
We should talk about both of these actually. At the same time.
Let's talk about Thief first.
Yeah, but we should like do this after because they're like literally next to each other. So the thief question is how much do you value the best skill in the game, and that's like pretty much it for all intents.
Strike.
So Thief in this game is super frail, super fast, has weird kind of bad weapon ranks.
I think it's the 3rd fastest class after it might be technically 4th.
It's not even the fastest. Like that's a funny thing.
Yeah, it's after Occultist. It's after Brave Bear, Occultist, and Dragoon. I'm not going to count both Beastmaster and Freelancer because those both have the ability.
This is so hard to rank. This is so hard to rank.
Basically, Godspeed Strike, best skill in the game. It is literally a boss destroy. It changes the way you.
It changes the way you play the game, like just straight up. It changes the game itself. The other thing is, it's early. And Godspeed Strike is also early.
Yeah. Also, steal is useful to get some items. And its ability to just steal off enemies lets you do a lot. Um,
The thing is, the game is obviously beatable without Godspeed. It's
the
just
game
like,
is beatable.
how much do you value the convenience that this class just
It
provides
lets you beat bosses. I think that are like it lets you beat bosses that are like 10 levels above you.
So here's my argument, right? I'm gonna say it's here because until you have all the other stuff that like makes this broken, like you counter savvy, the requisite other defensive measures you need.
Savvy depending on the boss, but
but the thing is about Godspeed that makes it good is that you can just throw it at anything and see if it works.
Yeah.
So I think like
I think it's
we agree it's not here, right?
I agree it's not an SS tier. I'm debating between. I also debate between if it's low S tier or high A tier.
I think it's low S, right? Because this game without Godspeed would just be like awful.
Godspeed. I think Godspeed. They just said, "Hey, here's this ability. It breaks the game."
And it's speed based. That's why it's so good.
It lets you use the most important thing, which lets you act more as your damage, and it applies twice. So, and it can easily do over damage cap, and it can do that 2 times, which is just insane.
It can win you fights when your entire squad's at -3 BP because of the way it works.
My default strategy is to go -3 BP on my occultist and on my phantom.
And it's not like an opening strategy that works like 50% of the time, or like it works like 80.
If you're on level and Godspeed striking an enemy,
like
it will die.
For at least 25% of the game, your optimal strategy is like load in, magnifying glass everything, take a picture, then go back in with your Godspeeds in sub, and then your main is the job you want, or the weapon you want the S rank in.
Steel MP, especially.
Yeah, Steel MP is good too.
Steel MP is good. Thievery is good for getting certain. There are a lot of good items you can get.
I think here is fine.
Rob, the more I talk about it, like the ability to just by passively attacking enemies get items. It's just.
It probably has a lot we haven't explored just because like it's.
I think
you're Godspeeding on your turn.
On this class is I think it's the most broken, but it's not the most broken as a main.
It represents like the way the game, like the meta of this game really well is like you find facilitate the spamming of one high MP high damaging move and like everything else, and this is why I want to talk about Beastmaster next, is because this job facilitates this strategy.
I don't know why Beastmaster is the way it is.
Actually, is it like this? Or is it like,
no, I think Occultist is better as an SS tier because it goes until endgame.
But this is the 6th job you get.
Yeah, but I think Occultist is still better because I think Occultist is more broken stuff than Beastmaster, but Beastmaster is better when you get it.
I wish there was a way to like rank these. I think they're like exactly equal.
I think they're exactly even, but I like it better as Occultist better because Occultist breaks late game. Anyway, Beastmaster is stupid.
But Beastmaster breaks early game, mid game, and like, oh my god, this so like,
I believe it has unbounded stats because its second ability increases your stats.
Let's go through like the beginning, right? So I said Swordsmaster was the only job in the game you could run at level 1 sub. That's kind of true. This one you also can, but like you'll find out later. You'll find out later there's actually better ways to capture things. You will run the abilities. You'll run multiple of the abilities this class gives you until the very end of the game.
Staggering Strike, great mid game. It's decent damage. Delays a turn.
Delays a turn, yeah.
Capture. Capture is.
Mercy Strike is probably your best damage output, even with Mercy Smash, yeah. Even with Godspeed available, because you just don't have the MPs to fire off 4 of them when you first get Beastmaster.
Also, for some reason, this class gets MP Saver.
Well, yeah, like this, like honestly, it's so lucky for the meta that like these classes are almost right next to each other because they couldn't do what they do without each other's help.
This class gets MP Saver
plus raw power,
and its ability. I don't remember the name.
It's actually worse than raw power. Because like raw power applies no matter even if you only brave once.
It just encourages you to brave, and does a lot more damage when you brave. Which is if you're doing lots of damage, you're gonna brave 4 times.
Yeah. So like grinding a bit, like raw power is gonna go on almost every grinding build until you like are mandated to have indiscriminate strike rage.
The game it's not even hard for its second ability, which increases your stats based on the amount of monsters you get. because its final ability, if you have a kill monster, you have a
Beast Hammer, yeah.
33% chance to just
Take it.
take it.
Yeah, it's yours.
Also, when it becomes at level 15, its final ability is everything costs 0 MP till for 1 BP.
So like you put that on your Godspeed Striker, and there's 2 free ones that you don't have to.
That reminds me of free lunch in BD1, which I used for Amp Strike to do thing. Plus, you can make that ability instead of costing 1 BP can cost 0 because of Pictomancy.
The thing is, we've only talked about utility so far, where this is also a good combat class, and like it has it's actually the best combat class when you get it. Probably, maybe Vanguard's better, but
I think it's even better than Vanguard because it's faster
and it has priority
and has AOE.
Yeah, Mowdown is stupid. Mowdown's actually dumb.
There is no point in the game where Beastmaster is bad. In fact, also, that's not even getting to using the beasts.
Sub and like
that's not even like
that's the thing. That's why I think it might be better than
releasing the beasts. There are so many bosses that just don't have resistances to some ailments, which they don't expect you to have at that point in the game. But
infinite utility because you can capture any monster.
Versus Berserker boss. You can break that boss by spamming the stop cat, which you get at the dungeon right before him. This class
should not exist. It shouldn't exist when it does.
It should be a mid-game class.
It shouldn't be it should be like come in when Phantom comes in. Like why does it? Why is it the 6th job?
It's so powerful and so good at what it does. The only thing holding it back is you can
it gets power crept.
It gets power crept. Yeah. You don't. Its abilities are great, but you don't need them late game, so it doesn't serve as a sub job. And its stats,
you'll still go through with every character.
And it's yes, it has unbounded stats. It's a lot easy. It's a lot easier to have like max speed. The speed on Phantom.
You do have to work for the unbounded stats. Like it's not like Phantom where it's just do this exact move combo and you will never lose. It's like you do have to put a work in.
And oftentimes bosses require more than just raw stats, but it's just especially for when you get it, it is broken beyond belief. It is
that's really broken.
I could
we'll start here and I think best healing class.
It just has it's the only one with immediate healing. It's the only class with immediate AoE healing, which is important. It has a rise, which just brings someone back from the dead. Full HP.
It raises level 5, and the big thing, like, why it's so much higher than Spearmaster, even though Spearmaster is pretty much on par with it, is just like 3rd, 4th class you get.
You get it. It goes Freelancer, Black Mage, White Mage, and Vanguard at the same time.
So the thing is, Spearmaster, by the time Spearmaster exists, it's always competing with White Mage, but White Mage has like a good half of the game where it's not competing with everything. You will bring a White Mage
honestly,
sub
you're probably bringing
everywhere.
this as a sub, either a main or a sub job to almost every boss in the game.
Not only every boss, every fight you are bringing a White Mage sub up until you get this job.
I think this honestly belongs in S tier because even when grinding, you'll quickly switch to a White Mage to quickly heal your party.
Yeah, that's the other thing. It's the only job you switch to and then just to apply status ailments. Basuna, you need. Early game.
Basura, you mean?
Basura, yeah.
Because
you don't have the item. You don't have all. You might have the items in the shop, but you don't.
You don't feel like you have the money. Which, spoilers, this game you need a lot of money, but we're gonna ignore that.
But this job exists at a point in the game where that stuff does matter.
Yeah, it's this is.
And it's your only option. You don't have any other choice.
I think this almost rivals Thief for best sub job in the game.
Yeah, I think so too. I've had
it. Because Spearmaster does have a better restorative power, but that just lets him make use of White Mage's abilities better.
Yeah, and oftentimes when I have a Spearmaster, I have a White Mage sub with it.
Yeah.
I never feel I can feel comfy with just White Mage sub. I cannot feel comfy with solo.
No.
Spearmaster sub.
Also, Spearmaster's abilities better than ever, and its better version, and its version applies to the entire party. You get to HP cap extremely easy.
It's also got solar powered for early game. Any MP restoration is good.
And life draining, which
I didn't really use that, but
it's just kind of decent when grinding if you just have someone with it. I think White Mage.
It's simple. It's
simple.
effective.
It does
tried
exactly
and
what
true.
you want it to do. It's just great.
And tried and true in this game is good because like it's things are just weird.
Yeah.
Like
no.
it's consistent.
Kiraga does insane damage to undead enemies when that
Okay.
applies. Yeah.
I'm gonna do a hot take.
Yep. That's a hot take.
I know. All right, let me talk first.
Justify yourself.
Okay. Vanguard is your best combat ability best combat job up until you get Beastmaster, and then after which it becomes your best defensive, actually your only defensive job until you get Shield Master.
Mm-hmm.
That's like half the game, right? That it's the best at something.
Yeah, and get crosscut and get Neo crosscut.
Like
dummy.
yeah, dude. Like this is, it's such a like a small not insignificant, but like that's the thing is it's not insignificant. Cross-cutting before you get Beastmaster is like what you're doing, and
yeah, I agree it's an A tier. I don't think it's the top of A tier, but I think this is a fantastic class just purely because it's not. I don't think it's rivaled in anything until you get Beastmaster, and then it's not obsolete until you get Tank.
I think it's not obsolete to get Swordsmaster because you need the thing about I'm sorry, not Swordmaster, whatever this thing I always forget, Bastion.
Yeah. I
So like the thing about Shieldmaster is like, so you'll have a one Beastmaster and you'll have one Shieldmaster, right?
Mm-hmm.
But you don't have anything that's like defensively oriented that can also damage things until you get Bastion.
Enrage is also a great ability.
That's what I was going to talk about next. Like Enrage still has utility in the very late game.
Second ability isn't like class changing like it is for something like Red Mage. But
fantastic weapon ranks too.
You get
S axes and S shields.
I thought it was A axes, S shields, but
let's double check.
Yeah.
Oh.
No, keep going.
Defang's also really good.
Defang is great. I think this is a great.
Oh no, it's S axes, A shields, but shield bear is the thing I was thinking of. Like you get a free shield, and there's no reason in the early game you should be equipping 2 weapons anyway. Yeah. So you might as well have a shield on him.
It is a fantastic.
Fault Line's a really good special in early game.
It also is your only access to Earth damage for a long
time. Yeah, and getting the special is really easy because you're gonna be using heroics on this thing anyway.
Crosscut and Neo crosscut are until you get Godspeed Strike your best source of damage.
Yeah.
And honestly, the second you get Godspeed Strike, it still might out damage it.
And the thing is, like, Godspeed Strike is not easily facilitated as soon as you get it. Like, we were talking about like, it is the best ability in the game, but, like, it has a heavy cost, especially since...
It's 95 MP base.
If you're not using it with MP Saver, like, it takes some time to get MP Saver on everybody.
And, like, even with MP Saver, it's still, like, 75 MP, if I remember correctly, which until you, like, actually build your character... Until your character gets a higher level where they can use that 4 times, that's a lot. When Neo Crosscut, that's, like, 50 MP, that's a lot. At that point
I actually think like regular crosscut is for the most part serviceable because Neo crosscut is 12.
Yeah, regular crosscut brings you through most base enemies or mid bosses where Neo crosscut used to finish a boss.
And if you're against a boss, like you're probably not cross-cutting anyway. You're probably using Vanguard's defensive utility. So
the only reason I want to say Swordmaster is above it is Swordmaster is
I agree with this. I think this is a perfect spot for it.
Yep. Yep.
Really, really fun. Okay, here we go.
No.
We don't know what this class does.
Like it gets like unarmed strike.
It's all right. So let's talk about what they wanted
it has
it to
high
do.
HP.
It's supposed to be a self-buffing build that like compounds on itself. It compounds on itself.
I believe it has the highest HP in the game. But HP.
Why would you have a class center on not using weapons, but then not make the weapons stronger?
But like it gets
just is all over the place.
And it gets access to a physical fire ability. Cool.
Garbage. It's garbage.
It's already outclassed in terms of damage by Vanguard,
which you get at the same time.
The only reason you have it is to like diversify your threats. But like
there's no fist weaknesses in the game. So like you're automatic like if you're using fists, which is like the point of like its sub ability, right?
Yeah, and like if you scroll down, scroll up, natural talent, which You boost your physical attack by 200% without weapons, armor, or accessories. You have accessories. You have armor, which
And you get just as much damage as you would if you were targeting the weakness of a physical weapon type, which you can just screenshot anyway.
2 slots.
It's 2. Oh my god, it's 2. Oh
It's 2 slots. Plus, it's in, I think, one of the hardest gates to get the level 15 ability. It's not even like a level 12. It's a level 13 ability, meaning you have to already have beaten one of the hardest gates in the game to get it.
It's a crit build that just kind of, it's like a crit HP centered.
But it doesn't have any good sub abilities that I want to
Why
use.
you're not making use of crits though? Because like you either have a weapon, like its weapon ranks are garbage, right? Then if you don't have a weapon, you aren't getting much off of your crit.
The only use I can see out of this is to do broken shit with surpassing power minus strike. That's the only thing I can see breaking the game.
I'm just looking through everything because like I cannot believe this class like went through playtesting.
Like,
Look at these weapon ranks.
its highest weapon rank is with staffs.
And it's A, and then its next one is B, lances.
Which, like, lances are good. Don't get me wrong. But
That's like
it's sub abilities. Let's take a look at specialties.
What is it?
No, scroll down. Yeah, no, specialties. Causing crit chance every time you invigorate. Cool, you get crit. But like you're not at a point in the game where crit matters. And
you're using fists. Like
single-minded prevents berserk and all that stuff. But berserker gives you a passive that does that. So you don't have to even get it to level 12. And berserker does more damage because when you berserk you do 50% more damage.
There's literally a berserker skill that like does this.
Yeah, no, that's what I was saying. That's what I was saying. Like, berserker has a passive that does, secondary that does that, but like fuck it.
Its special is also one of the worst in the game because it's tied to an elemental type, so like it just doesn't work against fire-resistant enemies.
It's just the only use I could see is if you can do broken shit with minus strike, but to put in the work you would have to max out monk. You'd have to get really far into Pictomancer, and you'd have to get really far into Hellblade.
So I use this job a little bit. Basically, what it does is it's like it tries to be a crit build, but like if you're not literally the only crit facilitating build in the game is this.
Yep.
And that's why it's double S because it's so much better.
Technically Bastion has one, but like why the fuck are you critting on Bastion?
Yeah, but that's like an ability. Like this is the only one that has like
crit
crit facilitation abilities because you need the speed.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no,
Monk is garbage.
Monk is garbage. Even when you get it,
this one's
even when you get it, it's still like Vanguard's better physical. I want to put this like mid A. I honestly think this is a mid A class.
I think. All right, hold on. I think before we move on, I think Pirate's underrated.
You mean Berserker?
Berserker.
You just BD1 flashbacks.
Yeah.
BD1 Pirate could do damn much.
Like okay. So basically, we're only talking about indiscriminate rage at this point, right?
Yeah.
Here, so the equivalent is Godspeed Strike, which is the best boss killing ability in the game.
Yep.
This is the best This is the best grinding ability in the game.
Second best.
What do you think is the best? Oh, right. Right. Okay, but availability though.
Availability. Okay, when I'm grinding, I will always have indiscriminate rage. The thing is, it's literally one ability where a thief, where that like helps you with grinding, you can do a lot more with grinding.
I don't know why. I'm just like this like all icons like. Okay. It's literally one ability, but it's like necessity until.
No, honestly, its secondary abilities are decent. I just can't put it above B. I think it's the highest. I don't think it's as good as anything in B tier, as in anything that's A tier.
We'll look through everything.
We'll do a big go through.
I don't have strong opinions about this class.
I think when you get it, it can be used to help you. Like, it can be used to help you for bosses you're slightly underleveled for.
It's really early, but the thing is, like, at that point in the game, you need, like, you can't dedicate like a buffer yet. Like, you kind of need like someone to be healing immediately or like damaging immediately. Like, you don't have the room for it almost.
But like it gets better the longer you play, and it's also like not bad when you get it. Its accuracy buff is low key one of the best abilities. The ability to make someone act immediately afterward is great.
It's also got non-elemental spells, which are pretty good. I've been using them recently.
Yeah, its damaging isn't bad. As a main class, it makes the buffs last longer.
I just think it's held by. It's in a like. This
Yeah.
is the job that's in the worst. Like joins at the worst time to like showcase it.
I think
It's in a really tight.
I think it's there mainly so you can like slowly level it up.
Yeah, but that's the thing is like you have to level it up because like.
But like I'm not going to begrudge a class for getting better as it.
Yeah, it's just weird.
I think it is a weird A tier, but like when you need to use it, it is.
It's also the most RNG. Well,
No.
Well, hold on. It's the second most RNG dependent.
No,
build.
I don't even think it's the second most RNG dependent.
I think extended outro makes or breaks this class, to be honest.
Yeah, extended outro. I think.
Or no, encore. I mean.
I just think this class just the fact that it's the only AoE buff class in the game. Plus like its buffs are good, and it has a little bit more utility besides just buffing.
Is it the only AoE buff? Really?
Think about it. It's the only like AoE stat boosting.
The other thing is, like targeted special attacks also can. So like let's say, big boss is coming up, right?
Mm-hmm.
You can stack all your special attacks up. Well, not 4 necessarily, but all the ones you have access to.
Mm-hmm.
You can stack them up before you go into a boss fight, and then you fire both of them off, and it's basically like you had a full 4 BPs of Bard.
Mm-hmm.
That's the one thing I can't get over about it.
The thing is about Bard is.
Yes, you can like pick. You can pick which one you want.
You can pick and choose what you want to buff. It's a lot more flexible than specials. And the ability to make someone act immediately after you is amazing. You can make your healers aren't that fast in this game. So and bards are decently faster, so you can heal people immediately when you want. At worst, the ability is to gain 1 BP for the cost of ability if they're like a -3. I think Bard.
So what do you think then?
I think it's definitely an A tier. I think it's slightly worse than Spearmaster, but better than Bastion. It is, I think, necessary for a lot of the gate fights because of its accuracy buff.
I'll give it over Bastion for availability, but like, it's not. It's one of the ones that takes the longest to get going, in my opinion. Like,
I mean, just worst case scenario, you have Elvis or Gloria just spam for attack buffers.
Like you get it next to Thief, but it's not really a real job, I think, to like Red Mage.
I can agree with that. Gambler is weird. Gambler is...
I almost like want to make it like a Gambler team.
I think it's definitely better than Monk. By far, it's better than Monk.
I think it's here.
I think it's in D tier.
Just because like it's the funny haha class.
I should also say it does have the highest crit chance in the game.
But it's Gambler. Its
abilities require gold, which is
and luck.
Requires gold and luck. But you know what else requires gold? Salve Maker. But you know what Salve Maker can do for just raw gold? Give you BP.
Two of them.
Yeah, give you two BP. It's the best job for grinding money. It has it.
Which you won't do until you get this one.
It has an A in bows.
I do not want to move that.
Just put it in E tier. We'll talk about later. It has an A in bows, which is like bows are good. Bows are really good. The thing is, I would never. It just.
I would never recommend it.
It's a grinding build, and it's cool. It's funny, haha, and Night Market is actually pretty decent in combination with Red Mage.
Yeah, I know the combination you're talking about.
To apply a lot of statuses, but if you want to apply statuses, you can apply basically anything that's not resistant with.
Or just use the best.
Yeah, no, that's what I was talking about. You can apply anything that's not immune to with. I don't think it's worse than Pictomancer. I think it's the exact same as Pictomancer. I'm just gonna put it there because Pictomancer, if you brought into a boss fight, I think you had a plan.
I think it goes here because an unlucky gambler is worse than Pictomancer.
Yeah, I think if you brought Pictomancer into a boss, you have a plan. Or if you brought Gambler into a boss,
you're doing something wrong.
I think you forgot to switch off your job.
Speaking of forgetting to switch off your job,
Rogue. This is the hardest to get class in the game. You are.
It's also the hardest to rank, probably, because it's dependent on how long you've been playing.
Technically, it can deal the most damage in the game. Like, if you just leave
Okay.
your switch on when you, like...
So let's talk, like, foundational pros. Really fucking massive HP stat.
Massive
like,
HP.
Huge.
I believe it has, like, the highest base stats in the game for everything
But
before...
Garbage availability.
It's
Like,
hard. It's
actually,
the last job you get in the game.
the only one that actually, like, we've been talking about availability, like, as a little edge and stuff here, but, like, this is the only job where availability actively hinders it.
I think...
Like, I think availability brings this, like, down to a whole tier.
Yeah. Obliterate is the best grinding skill in the game, literally, because you don't have to fight.
But you're only, like, even if it's the best grinding skill in the game, like, you're grinding 5 levels with it. Whereas, like, this guy, I grinded, like, 40 levels with him.
Oh, yeah, no. If no one got me, I don't indiscriminate.
And it's like, are you even really playing the game? You know, like, is it
like, its abilities... let's get
It's
stuff
like
away. All of its abilities are great.
It's like a convenience job.
But, like, no, like, even outside... excluding availability... Excluding, if we don't take into account availability or, like, obliterate, it would be an SS tier job in a vacuum. But the thing is, when you get it, you already have broken strats, and it doesn't just solve problems.
I don't think it's an S.
I think it's at least an S tier in a vacuum.
I think S tier. You said SS though.
Yeah, it's at least an S tier in a vacuum.
Let's take a look at its level 15s.
Best prep.
So this could be good with Phantom.
Be
Oh,
yeah, you just can't increase BP. It's a support.
that's even like later late game though.
It's
Because you have to do the fight too.
It does.
You have to win that fight, which is
like it does everything amazing. It's great. It's great. It just you get something in the game, and with a little, it's not as good as Phantom because it doesn't have the ability to just stupid break.
It's also only around for 10%. I don't know where to put this, dude.
Yeah, this is.
I think
here. I could put a bottom of A tier purely because of availability.
Here or here?
I want to put bottom A because it's a great job. It's a great job. It's just you don't get it. You don't get to play with it long enough, and that's fine because like if you got this early game, the game would be the meta would be leave your Switch on for overnight with the game running, and then you just
like a rubber band on your Okay, so this looks pretty good. Let's go through everything here and see if there's anything we disagree with.
Let's go bottom up.
Yeah.
Monk.
Agree.
Yeah.
I think E and D are pretty self-explanatory.
Yeah.
I think Dragoon and Arcanist.
Those are
Okay. No, I know what I want to do. I want to do this.
no. I don't agree.
No, because availability, right?
Yeah, availability. If we're counting availability, that goes down. If we're not counting availability, Black Mage goes down to D tier, and Brave goes to
I
S
guess
tier.
I'm just like still conditioned from looking at the icons on my actual Switch. Like I see all these icons, I'm like, oh yeah, and then I see this one, I'm like, what is this doing here?
Yeah.
Like, what is
But
your
yeah, no,
purpose?
honestly, due to availability, I think it might be better than Dragoon. Purely due to availability. I hate to say it. Dragoon is a better class. It's more fun, but purely due to when you get it and what it does when you get it, it just is better.
I agree.
Yeah.
I'm very sad that I do.
Oracle's neat. I think C tier. I don't think Oracle belongs in B tier. I don't think belongs in B tier.
You don't think it belongs? So like, here's my rationale, right? These guys are all like. Let me just put this here so I can like rationalize my argument, right? So these guys here all like don't really have utility. That's why they're here.
I mean, MP regen.
One skill that's mid and only on
Aspire attack.
Aspire is only the thing is like this has multi-dimensional utility. It's not one thing, right?
Well, the thing is the utility it brings isn't necessarily
Noble Sacrifice.
Yep.
Haste.
Okay, but no. Quick.
And then Elemental.
Yeah. Okay. The thing is, I just kind of but like if we're just counting one ability.
That's 3 things though.
True. I just kind of view C tier as the niche classes that are good for like 1 or 2 fights, but besides that are just kind of.
But this is good for more than 1 or 2 fights.
It is so on the border for me. I think it is C. I don't think it's as good as the B tier classes, but I don't think it's as bad as the C tier classes. You know what I mean? Put it where you want. I can believe it anywhere. anywhere.
So here's my thing is like, right, each of these guys has like one. This thing has 0 things, but we like it. So these guys all have like one thing, whereas like this guy has 3 things, and this guy has like 2 things, and this guy they're 2 things that are better.
2 things that are better, and also is better as a standalone.
This guy's got like 3 things. This guy's like 3 things. This guy has 1 really fucking good thing, right?
And that thing doesn't even just have 3 things. It's the best magic damage class in the game. Also, Red Mage plus Bard is 2 buffs. It facilitates other classes really well.
Yeah, Red Mage is big utility. Like these guys are all big utility except for this guy, which is
just
a really
big damage.
A really polarizing class.
Quad damage is also a lot.
Like you said, triple isn't bad too. Like this class functions fine.
Okay. I'll concede B tier.
Like he's all right. Yeah. He's a good sub job. Yep. Everything else is.
I legitimately don't know where to put Brave Bear, and also Freelancer.
I think here's okay.
I also don't know where to put Freelancer, TBH.
I think these are great spots for the 2 of them, honestly, because Freelancer, like it like let's say. It's like in the middle plus its availability.
I think Freelancer is slightly worse than Spirit Master. I think like that is slightly better.
I'm gonna play. I could see. I honestly like don't have a dog in the fight, but I'll play and argue why it's better. But like I don't actually know if I think this. I think that the existence of like they almost do the same things in a way. Like they both facilitate magic devastation, but at different points in the game, right? The thing is, Freelancer is the only thing that can do it. Then.
Yeah, but the thing is,
and can attack too.
You get Spirit Master very I think I'm gonna say the middle of the game.
I think it's like the 10th. I think it's like the last one on the first column. So yeah.
Yeah. So it's a mid game job, but it is also just keeps getting better and better. And you lose at level 12, it's amazing. And then you lose it once you beat the boss and get it to level 15. It's stupid because you get a re-raise and BP increase off of it, and you can't really run main. You really can't run main Freelancer, but you can easily run main Spirit Master.
You can't run main Freelancer, but Freelancer sub also facilitates like an entire like archetype of grind build, like without JP up and JP up, whatever.
I think
also, you probably can run Freelancer as main late game. With Mimic.
Late game. The reason you can't run it as main is purely a utility standpoint. You need to have having a sub and main job that both do something useful. Where as Spirit Master, you can having sub and main are all useful.
Also has unbounded stats.
No, it technically does have bounded stats.
Yeah, I guess so.
The thing is, if we had an A+ tier,
all right, so I can see this, right?
If we had an A+ tier, I would put these 4 classes in it, but I would not put.
So if I were to do this, actually, this looks weird to me.
What?
Hellblade. Hellblade looks too high if we do this.
Okay, I'm okay putting Hellblade a little bit lower. I can agree with this.
Because Hellblade's just like big meaty Chad damage.
Chad damage. Also, it's pretty Chad's survivability. Another good thing about Spear Master, sub job, specialty 1.
Yeah.
Sub job specialty.
Yeah, I always forget that.
That's really good. It does again fluctuate with the sub job, but you get stuff like Hellblade sub job, or
okay. No, that looks better to me, I think.
S tier. How do you feel about S tier? Or
S tier is like the tier that looks the most different than I thought it would. Maybe we don't need double S. You know, no, these two are like
those
different.
Two are so much better.
They're literally built different. So
I think S tier is the weirdest order where if you put a random
these could go in any order. Like you could just
if you put like Thief.
The only thing I couldn't see is Thief last of these 3. Like Thief has to be this. Or
Thief
this.
is either middle or first. You know what? I want to say put Thief first because it has the best skill in the game, and I want to say
honestly though, like I like the order we had before. Like Salvemaker at top 3 looks weird, but
if you think about it,
there's nothing that does what it like. The reason these like top 3 is top 3 in my opinion is like yeah, nothing does what Godspeed Strike does, but it's like there's no flexibility in it. It's just you click the button
Click button good.
in good, and it's
Where
good, and you win.
Master, hey, you want to deal? Hey,
Do you want to do AOE poison? Do you want to do full MP restoration this turn? Do you want to revive? Like, there's so much flexibility with Southmaker.
And also, like, do you want to do? Yeah, you can apply any status, especially with it also it has the most flexibility as either a main or a sub job. Where the two SQs you have as main jobs only.
Yeah, it's like you could make the argument here. I don't believe this argument, but you could see this. You could see this, right? And I could not see either of these, which is why I think this this is first, and we can't have this, and we can't have this third. So like this is the definitive order.
Yeah, I you know what? Big agree. Yeah, big agree.
Because like you could see, that was a good.
I think this is probably.
It looks good too. Like we have a nice bell curve here.
Bell curve. Oh, it would be pretty even if it wasn't for how bad Monk is, and that's tough because I really liked Mug in the other games.
We could put it here.
No, it is.
It's not.
I refuse to believe Monk is as good as Pictomancer or Gambler.
Oh my god, dude! Why? Like it just doesn't do anything.
It's just pro.
These both have like one okay ability.
Like it has HP. What does HP matter when you can just not die as Shield Master?
When you can just not die. Just don't die, dude.
Just don't die.
It's like you're still getting hit too.
It has one use that I can see. I haven't tried this out, so if I tried it out, it was broken. Maybe I'd put up some tiers.
See, the weird thing about Monk is that like every other tier list we've seen has it like really good.
Yeah, but fuck other tier lists. We're built different.
I guess like.
No, I think Monk is
whatever. So here's
I feel like the only thing
even if it did have something good, it's not easily apparent to the player. So like, is it really even?
I think the only thing we're overlooking is minus strike with BP saver spam.
Yeah, we haven't really dipped into a lot of BP stuff, but like, does it? That's an ability slot too, you know.
But like, granted, how many ability slots do you use to necessitate?
Well, if you're grinding, you have 2.
But like, I'm talking about for like bosses, especially if you're Godspeed striking spam. Like, because with Godspeed strike spam, you have MP saver, crit.
I run MP saver, raw power.
Critical flow,
and then auto guard.
Why auto guard? I don't run auto guard.
So I don't die because it's thief.
I mean,
and counter savvy. Those are the 5.
I run MP saver, critical flow.
So we agree, like you need 3 or 5. Like you have 3 slots. So you have like one more slot than you would normally.
I think like Monk could be good, but putting in the work to make Monk good.
I mean, all these classes could be good.
Is so much harder.
The only one
I think I think
this one has a definitive ceiling of what it can do.
I think honestly, I think C and D have the. I actually, you know what I think? I think from here to here have the most. From Black Mage to Gambler have the most ceiling.
You think? I think like this thing just like caps out.
I think Black Mage can only do so much as a main job.
True. Because it's
where
they had to put all those magics on it. Yeah.
I've seen people do AOE damage cap with Arcanist. I know it can be stupid, especially if you put like reflect on your characters. There's just a lot of setup for stuff for.
I think this is good.
Yeah, I think this is a good tier list.
Right. That was a lot longer than I thought it would be.
Yeah,
but
something talking about tiers.
It'll go into my YouTube. All right.
Content.